Councilman Box, if you would be so kind.
Creator, Father God, we thank you so much for the opportunity to come here tonight. And number one, just praise your name. Thank you for the wonderful day you've given us today. And thank you for every breath we take. Lord, I thank you for wisdom tonight. Thank you that we all have patience with each other and peace. And in our disagreements, we won't have discord, but we will have good debate. Thank you again for all the things you do for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Box.
Yes, sir.
Roll call, Councilwoman Cuellar,
Here.
Councilman Box,
Here.
Councilman Sims,
Here.
and myself here. Councilman London is en route. We are expecting him this evening, but he will probably be a little delayed, so we look forward to him joining us here momentarily. At this point, we look for the approval for the minutes of the regular city council meeting for October the 5th.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes for the regular council meeting, October 5th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. No noes or abstentions. Thank you. All right. At this point, I'd look for an approval of the current bills.
Council President, before we look for approval, one of the things I didn't have the chance, there wasn't enough time, a few minutes before we came in, to go through some of the items on our council expense report. I normally go through those with the city clerk, but we didn't have time to go through it. So I'm going to ask those questions now so that I know what we're clear, what these expenditures are for, if that's okay.
That's fine.
All right. So we have $1,000 going to Latino News on page 3. It says community program, but what was that community program?
That was for the Hispanic Heritage Month celebration that we had on Saturday.
Then we have building repairs for Zamora, says Zamora Painting, $11,300. I guess what has me a little confused here is my understanding was that that building was going to be demolished at some point in time. So I'm wondering why am I incorrect in that?
Well, we have not had a meeting with anyone to discuss the plans about what's going to go on at the Zamora. However, we did have an event there on Saturday that produced $1,500 for the city. While we're waiting to develop this plan, we're going to go ahead and rent the facility out and try to receive as much funding that we can while it's sitting there and the city still has not decided what they're going to do with the property.
All right, so the structure is safe for holding events?
We had Boss's Day in there yesterday. It's probably about 80 of us in there, and a lot of them are still standing back there in the room today. So I guess the roof didn't fall on our heads while we were there, since they're here.
Sir, I asked a question. Has our building inspector, our fire department, have they signed off and said that this building is safe to hold events?
Our assistant fire chief is the individual that is responsible for the building.
And he signed off on that, saying that
You want to ask him? He's back
okay,
there.
very good.
He can come up here and talk about it if he wants to.
Safe. It is a steel structure. There's nothing wrong with its structure.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And then the other question had to do with Roy's Plumbing, because we had repair of toilets that was done there. Looking at page 7, or actually, let's look at page 6, at credit card charges that were made using a Truist Bank credit card. Going down about 8 items where it says community events. Which community event was that for?
Can you give me the name of the
Yeah,
actual
it
event?
has McDaniel. It's got administration for $399.96.
Okay, that was for the celebration in the park, September 25th.
Was okay, so the music festival.
Yes.
Okay, going down. 6 more items. We have another community event for $299.98. McDaniel again. Was that the music festival?
I would say that it was for the music festival, but Fire Chief, do you want to verify that for me?
There should be charges for the tents that the city uses for multiple events.
Thank you.
All right. So that was for tents.
Yes,
Okay.
he verifies that.
All right. Now the other one's self-explanatory. The 135th anniversary, $1,513. Then we have on page 7, going down about 9 items. Community programs is at the music festival. It says concert, $585.84.
Yeah, I think that one is self-explanatory.
Well, wanted to make sure there was not more than one, sir.
Well, we've only had one
Music
festival.
festival. Okay. And the last comment I want to make is we were told that everything that is paid for the music festival that took place, that these funds, that not one penny would be expended from city resources, and that these amounts would be reimbursed to the city. Have we done that? Refunded that money back to the city?
I'm glad you brought that up because I will give that financial report during the mayor's report.
Very good. Thank
Very,
you.
very good.
Yeah, because I'd like to see those credits coming back to our,
Have no problem.
revenues.
Have no problem with it at all. I have a report for all the council, and it will also be posted on the city website. So if any of the citizens want to go and see how the money was spent for the festival, you can see how every dime was spent on the city's behalf.
very good. Thank you. I have no other questions.
Okay.
I'm good with it now that I have answers to my questions.
Thank you. So at this time, if someone could go ahead and introduce that motion.
I make a motion, we approve the current bills for $482,715.47.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, no abstentions. Thank you. Before we continue with our agenda, just one thing. I was greeted by some gentlemen in the hallway that were interested in, there were some notices that were sent out about a rezoning case regarding the Lemon property, which would be the old AmSouth Regions building. That was pulled from the agenda. So if you are here specifically to sit through that public hearing, I just want to let you know that you're welcome. You have a gift of time. So didn't know if there was anybody else out here for that, but apparently not. So thank you. We'll move on. At this time, we'll look for any professional or consultant reports this evening. Any professionals or consultants? All right. Mayor, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. I don't have any presentations tonight, so I know you all are depressed that I don't have any proclamations to read, but I do have a long report, but I'll speed through the report very quickly. First of all, I want to thank all of the employees in the city of Irondale, all 151 of them, for celebrating Bosses Day on yesterday. They surprised me, and we had an event there at the Zamora Temple. Only thing that I can say is thank you. But the other thing that really meant a lot to me is that every dime that they spent on that event, from food to all of that, it came out of the employees' pockets. They didn't ask the city for a dime, but that meant a lot to me that you all would band together and put your own resources together to be able to celebrate me on Bosses Day. And I just want to say thank you for that. Also, on October the 5th, I had an opportunity to go down to Jefferson County to be able to receive a check from Commissioner Ammons for $4,500. This $500 will be used for the weather preparedness kits that the fire department is putting together. These kits are going to go to the trailer park communities, Josh? That's where they're going. So we're going to give those kits to them. I want to thank Commissioner Ammons for donating $4,500 for that particular event. If you want an update on what's going on with the Irondale Parks, I had an opportunity to be able to meet with GMC, who is going to do the contract or contracted to be able to do the work for Ruffner. We met, and within probably 3 months, 6 months, you will see a bid package that's going out to bid to be able to start on construction for Ruffner Park. Also, the master plan has been completed for the parks, so we'll have that update on November the 10th. It will be a town hall meeting that is given by the mayor. It won't be a work session. It will be the mayor's town hall meeting to unveil what the survey produced for what the citizens would like to see in the parks, and also the dog park. The plans for the dog park are 75% complete, and we should be going out to bid with that in less than 6 months as well. I want to thank everybody that participated in Hispanic Heritage Month on the celebration that we had on Saturday. It was a great event. We had a wonderful time. It was just awesome to be able to celebrate the culture of other individuals that live in the city of Irondale. And we will continue to be a community that is very inclusive. And we want to make sure that we are very diverse and that we celebrate the heritage as many people that would like for us to be able to do that. Also on October the 19th, which is tomorrow, I will be meeting with the group. If you want some information to know about the branding that we talked about. So we'll have the kickoff for that tomorrow in my office on October the 19th. However, that is not open to the public. On October the 25th, if you're not doing anything at 7:30 in the morning, we're having a biscuits and business with the mayor. It's going to be at the Zamora Temple, October the 25th, 7:30 a.m. But this is given by the Chamber of Commerce. This is not given by the city, but the Chamber of Commerce is putting on this event. On October the 24th, if you're not doing anything around 9 o'clock, please turn to ABC 3340, and you'll have an opportunity to hear your mayor talk about the Biscuits and Business event that we're having on the Zamora on the 25th. On November the 5th, we have a shred date here at City Hall. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So if you have any documents that you want to shred, or if you have hard drives that are laying around the house from your computer, if you want to be able to get rid of those. So not only we're shredding paper, but we're also doing electronics at the same time. We're having a prayer walk on Saturday, November the 12th from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. Starts here at City Hall. A city that prays together stays together. On November the 19th, we're having a turkey giveaway through the Irondale Community Foundation here in front of City Hall beginning at 10 a.m. On December the 2nd, we're bringing the Christmas parade back. The name of it is going to be called Christmas Night of Lights, December the 2nd, 6:30 p.m. It's starting at Irondale Community School, making a left on Crestwood Boulevard, making another left on 20th Street, and it will conclude here at City Hall with a tree lighting. Now, let me give you a few updates. The first one is Grants Mill Road. I want to thank Frank for getting this information for me, but the road should be opening up on November the 25th or the 26th. All of the drainage, pipes, and everything has been installed. The soil walls have also been completed. They plan to reopen the road later this month, and they will shift towards what everybody is looking forward to driving on, and that's the roundabout. And the total finish date is set for September 2023. Let's see. Oh, my next thing, I'd like to pass this out to the council.
Excuse me, Mayor, what time was the branding meeting?
3 o'clock?
3? Okay, thank you.
I think it's 3 o'clock. The staff meeting.
Thank you.
So why don't you come on up? Okay. All right. There was question about how the money was spent for the celebration. If you're looking at the spreadsheet that I just gave to you, the first line item is the revenue. And the revenue says mayor and city council support. The mayor gave $30,000 out of his discretionary fund. Councilman Box, $2,000. Councilman Sims, $1,000, and Councilman London, $1,000 for $34,000. The sponsorships that came in through the Irondale Community Foundation, and there's been questions, when is the foundation going to give the money back to the city? Now that all the receipts have come in and we've had an opportunity to be able to reconcile the books, you can see on the second line item, there's $27,940 that will be coming back to the city for a total revenue of $61,940.00. You also will see the resolution that the city council adopted a month or so before the concert, and those expenses were paid to TK Productions, and it was $61,940.00. So the total revenue, $61,940.00. Expenses, $61,940.00 for a surplus or deficit of zero.
Very good. I have one request to make, and that is, Lee, is there any way that we can get a running total of everything that came out on our expense reports for community events, which were for the music festival? So we have those amounts to compare.
I think
This is the-
I think that request comes to the mayor. not
Yeah.
the city
Okay.
clerk.
This is also the mayor's report. The mayor has the floor right now.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
No problem for the interruption. I'm getting used to it. So you all wanted to see where those funds have gone. And also, I want you to look at the agenda. When you get a chance, check your budget for 2022, because there was a line item that was adopted for community events. And there was also a line item that was adopted for community programs. Okay. Let's see. Also, I wanted to make sure for all of the individuals that said that the mayor didn't support the Whistle Stop Festival this year. Well, first of all, I want to say that if the mayor didn't have a conversation with Mr. Cruz about bringing the Whistle Stop back to Irondale, there would not have been a Whistle Stop. I think you can go back and look at the picture that Mr. Cruz and myself took 2 years ago, shaking hands, talking about how we brought the Whistle Stop Festival back to the city of Irondale. Not only did we bring the festival back to the city of Irondale, but we invested $20,000 last year in in-kind services, and we invested $20,000 this year in in-kind services for somewhere around $25,000. So if you're wondering about the mayor's support or the city support for the Whistle Stop Festival, the city supported the festival in the tune of $25,000. My next report is to give you the unaudited financial report for FY22.
Councilman London, you can come on up. You can look at the figures.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, this is just a short report that I wanted to be able to show the council, and I want to make sure that on the second council meeting of each month that I share with you the financial position and condition of the city. The amount of revenue that came into the city of Irondale was $29,290.18. $29,290,018.27. The expenses as are as follow: administration $5,083,296.86. Police $3,495,667.04. Fire $5,508,319.63. Parks $118,130.63. Public Works $2,788,45.28. Fleet maintenance $311,232.53. Building maintenance $227,698.95. Library $616,947.67. Senior activity program $276,526.19. Building inspections $344,341.93. Beautification forestry $104,940.89. If you're out there and you're concerned about the amount of debt service that the city paid in the upcoming year, it was $4,008,999.95. Anybody need for me to be able to repeat that? Because there seemed to be a fetish with the amount of debt that we have here at the city. And if you can see that we had $29 million, almost $30 million that came into the city, and only $4 million went out in debt service. Anybody need me to repeat that number? All right. Other finance uses, $51,660.60. The projected surplus, and this is the unaudited financial statements. Make sure you put unaudited financial statements when you go and put this information out. The auditors will begin in January to certify and verify these amounts. But the surplus for the city in FY22 is $6,461,410.12. Anybody got any questions?
I do, sir. When we worked on the budget for fiscal year 2022, it was something that I noted even after our revisions that we made to the 2022 budget. The amount that was showing was $3,882,244. And when I looked at the actual figures as of July 31st of 2022, and that's definitely not taking into account the amount that was due on September, the end of September, because I knew we had bond payments that were due, was $3,986,904.95. So there was a small discrepancy there of give or take a little over $100,000. What is the reason for that discrepancy?
As I stated a few minutes ago, these are the unaudited financial statements. So once the financial statements are audited, we're still completing the audit work for the end of the fiscal year. And to be honest with you, there's no way I can tell you that because I don't have that information in front of me. The only thing that I was trying to do is to provide the citizens and the council with an unaudited snapshot of where we are right now. I can get that information for you. There's no problem getting that information for you because that information is in the system. So I will get that to you, and we can sit down and have a conversation why there's a difference between the two.
Very good. If you wouldn't mind doing that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. And also I wanted to let everybody know is that the 22 and 22, I haven't forgot about them. Matter of fact, I'll talk about them at the town hall meeting to be able to give everybody an update where we are. I believe that we are completed 16 out of 22. One of them that we won't be able to complete is the Main Street program because there was a timing issue in making sure that we got that information into them to become a Main Street city for 2022, but we are working on becoming one in 2023. So that'll go forward to 2023. So that'll just be one of the items in 23. But I trust you. You can trust me right now, and I give you my word. It won't be a 23 and 23. So we won't be that aggressive in 23, but we will still try to attack some of the issues that we have there. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is that blue trash can that you see in front of you. Those are the new recycling cans that will be going out to over 2,000 citizens during the month of November. When we did the trash cans for the garbage, to get everybody a trash can for the garbage, we spent over $300,000 to be able to provide trash cans for the garbage. But guess how much the trash cans cost that we're doing for recycling? Anybody want to take a guess? I mean, y'all keep up with everything. I get to see how you how y'all put comments and stuff there out there most of the time. That is inaccurate, but that's fine. But that blue trash can right there costs you $0. And the first 2,000 people will be able to get one of those trash cans beginning in November. If you haven't signed up for one and we get to 2001, guess what? You don't get a trash can. But Frank is willing to order more after we pass the 2,000, but you'll have to pay for it. So if you hadn't signed up for recycling, you need to make sure that you go ahead and sign up for that. And again, I want to thank Lee, Frank, and Alfred, because they were the ones that was responsible for getting one of the largest grants from ADEM to be able to be recycling. So you all should give them a hand. And with that, I didn't have a lot of proclamations for you, but I did have a lot of other information to be able to give to you. Thank you, Council President, for tolerating me and allowing me to be able to do this. But I feel like this is a good forum to be able to get out to the citizens what's going on in the city of Irondale. A lot of people tell me, well, I don't watch Facebook or I don't go to the website. Well, we're going to try to give you the information several different ways so you'll know exactly what's going on in the city of Irondale, because there's nothing that we are trying to hide. But we will put all of this financial information. It will go on the website. So if you want to be able to see it, dissect it, go through it, you can. If you want to schedule a meeting and sit down with the mayor, you can do that if you want to. Wednesday, Thursday, 4 o'clock to 5. I'm here for any citizen that wants to come and have a conversation about what's going on at the city of Irondale. Thank you again, Council President, and I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Council President Spivey, can I ask a question now?
You can go ahead and ask a question before we move into
Yes.
professional reports.
Thank you. Mayor Stewart, I am requesting that Lee Allison provide us with a running total on everything that came out for the 135th birthday celebration from our expense reports. That we have a running total of that, because I'd like to compare it with the figures that you've given us.
Well, I'm giving you the figures where I got that information
Well,
from.
if we can get those figures,
Yeah,
Joe, I'd
well, I'm
appreciate it.
just trying to let everybody know. Trust me, I ain't just make these figures up in the top of my head to be able to come up here and give them to you all. First of all, you all complain about it because you didn't know what they were. Now you complain about it because you want to see exactly where they came from. I guess next year I just put you on the committee so you can help plan the event, so you'll see everything that's going on.
If I may respond to that, sir, this sheet that you gave us for expenses, it doesn't have any amount. And that's the reason that I'm asking.
It has the amount. It has the amount that we paid the individual to be able to put on the event
What I'd
that
like
you
are,
all passed as a council.
right. If I can have a running total, I'd appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you both. That being said, at this time, welcome Councilman London. Do we have any reports from any department heads this evening? Any reports from any department heads?
So this really isn't a report for water. This is kind of going rogue a little bit. Of course, we had Bosses Day yesterday to honor Mayor Stewart for everything that he's done for us. And there's some employees that are standing back there, and it's a little bit in the hallway. We actually had to camp out in the library while all y'all came in. But we just wanted to extend our gratitude and our thanks to Mayor Stewart and the City Council for everything that they done. We had Bosses Day yesterday, like I said. There's actually a video that was played yesterday, and we're gonna play that right now. Yesterday, I had an air horn that I blew. When we had nothing going. They kind of broke the silence, but I don't have that right now, so I don't really know what to do.
Council President, while we're waiting for that, if you don't mind, if you would allow Dr. Gonsolin, he's here, and he would like to give us an update on the status of the schools in the city of Irondale.
That's perfect. I was going to yield my time to Ms. Pike and Dr. Gonsolin, but by
Okay.
all means.
All
they
right.
can-
No, you can do it.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't know if we hadn't talked about it. So I just-
Gotcha, right on.
Mayor Stewart, Iredell City Council, on behalf of the Iredell Police Department, we just like to say thank you. First of all, for the raise, second, for all the equipment that you guys got to order for us. Greatly appreciate it, helps us do our job, so a big, huge thank you to Mayor Stewart and the Iredell City Council. Thanks. We just want to say thank you for all that you have done for us, supplying our needs, and all that you do, and you're all coming back. And just want to say thanks again. Appreciate everything y'all did for us.
I'm the director of Irondale Public Library. In my tenure here, we have never been given a cost of living raise to this magnitude. And we wanted to let the mayor and city council know how much we appreciate the support that you've given to the library and to our staff. And we all want to say, thank you. I don't want them all your activities there, and we're here to say.
I don't mind, Martin, we'd like to thank Mayor Stewart and our city council.
Thank you to Mayor Stewart and members of the city council for allowing me to be a part of your team to build community in the city of Irondale.
And so I know Mayor Stewart said he didn't have any proclamations to give, but we have about 6 of them that we're about to pass out, and then I'll turn it over to Chief McDaniel.
I've been wanting to read one of these. We can get the mayor and the city council to come down and department heads with the proclamations, so we can get that afterwards. Yeah. Yep. Over here with the rest of them. Okay, so what we did was we put together a proclamation. Each one of them is individualized for the mayor and each counselor. It says, whereas the employees of the city of Irondale wish to honor and show appreciation to the mayor and city council on the occasion of National Bosses Day, and whereas under the leadership of this mayor and city council, the city of Irondale has become a top-tier place to work and has set the example for other municipalities to follow. And whereas employees have been given the largest pay raise in the city's history, allowing us to better care for our families, and whereas resolutions have been passed to empower employees through continuing education opportunities and training, and whereas we have been provided with the first-rate equipment to help us perform our jobs safely and efficiently, and whereas we are honored to come to work each day and serve the citizens of Irondale with passion and excellence, now therefore be it hereby resolved that we, the employees of the city of Irondale, issue this proclamation in appreciation, in witness whereof we have signed and sealed on this 18th day of October 2022, City of Irondale employees. And also to let y'all know there's cake in the back too when we're done. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. Good. Fire department.
All right. Any other department head reports this evening? Fair enough.
Tough to top.
What's that?
That one will be tough to top.
Yeah, right. Usually in my line of work, if you do something good, then someone doesn't come and talk to you. So I appreciate that. It's only when you get talked to you have a problem. All right. At this time, we'll move into council reports. As stated a moment ago, we'll go ahead and roll into my report. But at this time, I yield my time to our special guest this evening. If y'all could just come on up and introduce yourselves, and looking forward to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. We appreciate you guys having us in so that we can just share some information with you. First of all, I want to say how fortunate I feel as a school superintendent to be able to work with a mayor and a council such as we have here in Irondale. It is essential that school and community work together so that our children can be very successful. And you can tell by your Facebook page and our Facebook page, I think we feature the mayor at least, once, twice a week, because he's in our schools, taking pictures, donating money, thank you very much, on behalf of the city to help support our schools. I'm Dr. Walter Gonsalan, the superintendent of Jefferson County Schools.
And I'm Donna Pike, and I'm a board member for the Jefferson County Board of Education.
So I have this data book, Mayor, that I'll just kind of pass around. I'll pick it up later because we haven't published it for the public just yet. But we think as a school district that it's very important for us to come and share with our stakeholders the information of how our schools are doing. And we had our first data meeting, and this is our first annual data book that we published. It's a very nice publication that we had professionally done that captures much of the information and the data that we collect throughout the school. Now, this data is used so that we can make very important decisions. We just started and completed our our draft of our 5-year plan. And then we're going to take that information and that plan, and we will continue to gather data to show how we're doing as a district. All right. Now it goes everywhere in this book. We cover everything from student enrollment to by school, to achievement data, to learning supports, scholarships, credentials, all that stuff. And then we have to take that information and we respond to it appropriately. So if y'all don't mind, can I just share a little bit of that information with y'all? I first want to start with our student enrollment for the 4 schools that we have in Irondale. Grantswood Community School, and I'll give the last 2 years. In 2021, and there were 420 students enrolled, and now there are 410 students enrolled last year. And then in Irondale Community School, we had 451 students, and then last year we had 446. Now we're just we're just capturing our ADM for this year. So once we get that information, we'll look at the student enrollment throughout. At Irondale Middle School, we had 504 students, and last year we ended with 462 students. So you see, in those 3 schools, we have a slight decline. At Shades Valley High School, we had 1,151 students, and last year we ended with 1,191 students. So, you know, we saw that there was an increase at that particular school. I have several things that I want to share with you outside of that, and you can stop me at any time and ask questions. I want to share with y'all, we just received our data back from the State Department that tells us how we're doing. And in particular, with our 3rd grade reading, you know, everybody's heard about the Alabama Literacy Act, where children have to score proficient. There's 3 levels of support from the state. Now, if you're in the full support, that's the lowest level. That means you have some schools in trouble, and the state will come in and intervene. Then there's level 2. That means you're in good standing. They'll come in at a limited time, but you're in good standing. And if you're in level 3, that means you're doing really good. And they look at all of the 27 schools. Not last year, but the year before, we had 4 schools on that in need of intensive support. And so the state came in, they worked with us, and none of them was in Irondale, okay? They worked with those 4 schools. We worked with those 4 schools. And then we just got the report for last year. We have none of our schools out of 27 elementary schools. We have none of our schools that's under intensive report. All of them moved to the middle or the top tier. So we're very excited about that. In particular, Grantswood was at the middle tier last year. Grantswood and Irondale Community, the 2 elementary schools. Grantswood moved from a tier 2 to the top tier. Now, that's very important because each one of our schools are different, right? And both of those schools are Title I schools. That means we have children, a number of children that meets the state qualifications that says that they're living in poverty, right? Their parents are living in poverty. And so in order to take a Title I school or children who are living in poverty and have them performing at the top tier, that means that the leadership there and the faculty and staff, they're doing a wonderful job educating children. And we saw that throughout Jefferson County, that it wasn't just our middle income level or high income level schools that were doing well, but we saw that all of our schools at different income levels were doing very well. So I'm very proud, and I'm especially proud about the schools in Irondale. And by the way, I know I saw it on the agenda. We had our Shades Valley High School volleyball team. They placed runner-up in the area volleyball tournament, and now they're about to go play at the Super Regional in Huntsville tomorrow at 2:00 against Oxford. So please pray for them because we want to get some state champions, right? Right here in Irondale. So some would ask, we have 56 schools, right? And people ask, well, You don't have any of them on intensive plans. We have the failing schools list that's coming out, and we don't anticipate having any of those, any schools on those levels as well. They said, well, how are you able to do it? And that's because what we've done is we've set in Jefferson County, we've set our own standard that's a little higher than the state, and we tier the standards, right? And so we put them in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, Jefferson County style, all right? And so I'll have, sometimes some of our schools are like, my scores are not that bad. I'm not on an intensive thing from the state. And we said, but we have a different standard, right? To keep you off that state list. And so, so we have developed a plan where we have those 3 tiers. And I have these forms here where we have, if your school is in yellow, that means that you're on a warning track for Jefferson County. If you're in red, that means we need to come in. You know, we need to put as much support as possible for you. And within a 20-day time period, we have supports. So if you're in the clear, we still send a support team from the district office to come in once out of 20 days to look to see how you're running the plan that's in place. If you're in the yellow, we'll send a team 3 times a month within those 20 days. They'll come, they'll see how you're running your intervention plans, how you're doing your after school plans, how you're doing the teaching plan. They'll come 3 days a month in 20 days to offer support. And if you're in the red, you're going to see us just a little more often. All right. And that's 6 times, 1, 3, and 6. But we go in so that we could provide support for our schools. And I just want to let you know how your 4 schools are operating. Grantswood Community, in terms of proficiency in English language arts, they're in the clear, 41%. But just because they're in the clear for Jefferson County, it doesn't mean that we don't go in to check to see if they're running the plan. I'm an old coach, guys, 15 years of basketball. And I was taught, you get the playbook, you follow the playbook. And so, but you still got to go and check to make sure people follow, all right? In proficiency in math, they have 14%. So according to how they're ranked in Jefferson County, we label that red. And so now 6 times within 20 days, we got a team going in to see how can we help. We have a team that's going into coaching teachers, putting them on coaching cycles. A team that comes in to help to pull kids to give them interventions in throughout the day. Irondale Community, in the area of English language arts, we have them yellow. And so that means 3 days within every 20, and we'll check this every 20 days. So they could move from yellow to white, y'all understand, but we have a plan for it. And then their only area of concern is mathematics, which is the same thing as Grantswood Community. And we're seeing statewide that the lowest scores are in math. And so we know that that's an issue, you know, in Irondale, across the district, and the state. So we put together a plan, and that's why I said again, ours is just a little higher than the state, so that we can address that. Now I want to remind everybody, we're coming right out of COVID, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're catching up, but we see that the numbers we're getting to the point that our enrollment is about to catch up with pre-COVID, and our achievement as well. And so Irondale, in terms of our middle schools, Irondale Middle, again, it's the math. And that's across the district, okay? Now, Shades Valley High School, they're doing well. And so you don't see where they have to, you know, they're in the clear on all of the scores, whether it's ACT or any of those particular things. And so, but we still go in with a plan to look at those things, but they are scoring well. Now, you know, as superintendent, I love numbers, but I know the general public was like, okay, Doc, you need to hurry up. All right. So I'm just going to share just a couple of more things with you because I think that's important for you to see. For example, the scholarship monies, how much monies that we have raised district-wide and in particular at your schools. So district-wide, 3 years ago, we started tracking this. And we found district-wide 3 years ago that our students earned $71 million of scholarships. Pretty good, isn't it? But we asked ourselves, is that enough? Have we maximized all the potentials? And so we put together a plan in our 5-year strategic plan to increase that. The next year, we went from 71 million to 101 million. The next year, which is this last school year, we went from 101 to 103 million. I asked the 8th grade class a week ago. I was sharing these numbers with them because we meet with them and share their numbers, right? And I asked the district-wide 8th grade class, what's going to be your number? And one young man said, we're going to hit 1 billion. I said, okay, all right, let's do that, right? But in particular, I just want to share with you your school's information. And scholarships, page 24. The JCIB school, 274 scholarships earned. 55 students received scholarships in a number of $13,341,000. That's pretty impressive. And Shades Valley, 188 students received number of scholarships earned. Number of students that earned 69 at $4.5 million. So, you know, a lot of people say, well, Shades Valley is doing good only because of JCIB. That's not true. That's not true. Those kids are holding their own, and they are attracting some great scholarships. And so we're very proud of that. We have something called CCR numbers. That's college and career readiness. And Shades Valley right now is at 69% of the graduating class receiving those credentials. Now our district number is 75%. That's what we reach for. So they're a little lower than our expectations. So we have a plan in place, and that school has to put a plan in place to raise that above 75%. And we check the plan throughout the school year. The graduation rate for Shades Valley is 94%. Now, that's very good, but you have to ask yourself, because this is what we're asking. For that same class, how can you have 94% of them graduating, but only 69% getting a credential, all right? And so we tell them that number has to be closer. And so we develop a plan to do that, because we don't want kids walking across the stage and it meaning absolutely nothing, all right? Now, chronic absenteeism. And that's when a child misses over 18 days of school. And that is tracked. And so that's one of the things we want to just communicate through all of our communities, throughout all our communities, the importance of children coming to school. That if they're not at school, then we can't teach them. And so at Shades Valley, it's 20%. That means 20% of the population, student population there, missed 18 days or more. Let me see, Irondale. Trying to see if I had Irondale Middle School. It's 20% as well. Irondale Community School, 21%, and Grantswood, 21%. So we know that in all the schools is right around that 20%. And so our counselors, our administration, we're appealing to the parents to say, please send them to school. And we try all types of incentives to work with that. The last thing that I want to share with you guys, because it's very important to us, career tech classes. As you remember those home ec classes and the welding classes, all of those are very important to us. And so it's college or career readiness, right? Because some of the kids get both. I just want to share with some of you the classes that we have, because I hear people saying, we need to bring back the career tech classes. Well, they never left, right? As a matter of fact, we increased them, okay? So we have advertising design, we have auto service, collision repair, engineering, Project Lead the Way, fax, 2 marketing classes, finance, health science, and 2 JROTC classes that we offer for those particular students. And we make sure in all of our home ec classes, we have all new appliances that was installed at Irondale Middle and Shades Valley, new sewing machines at Irondale, 100 new computers installed at Shades Valley High School, and 16 at Irondale Middle School. I think, I just want to leave with everyone that we are the second largest school district in the state of Alabama. And I've challenged our people to lead the way so that we can become the #1 school district in the state of Alabama. And we're going to do that school by school, community by community, and we do it together. And so that's why I appreciate the efforts that the mayor and the city council, how you put together to help us. Because some of the monies that they donate to us, it helps alleviate a lot of things. If they are donating $10,000 for one thing, then that's $10,000 we could take to offer after school tutoring for our children who need it. And so I just want to say thank y'all very much. I'm going to yield to Miss Pike. And by the way, I want to thank Miss Pike for her leadership and how she works with me as a superintendent. I think we talk 3-4 times a day, right? All right. Talk a lot, right?
I know nobody here is surprised.
Miss Pike.
Okay. I just wanted to talk about Dr. Gonson a little bit. During COVID, all of our children were fed 2 and 3 times a day because he worked diligently to make sure that they were taken care of. COVID was not the best time that we've ever endured in our educational system, but I wanted to talk about a couple of the good things. I've advocated for us to have a mental health department, and we have one, and we've just enlarged it. So we can support the whole child, and we can support the teachers by having these psychotherapists, psychologists in to help with children that have emotional needs. I think that it's a win-win situation. I also would like to talk just a minute about the tutoring program that we have started. Our children can get tutored in the afternoons. They can stay after school, but wait. Yes, the bus transports them home. So the stress is off. The stress is off of mom. The stress is off of the child. So the child can concentrate on the tutoring, the class, the present that's going on, and not worrying about mom or how we're going to get home or whatever. So we're covering all the bases in order for our children to get the most benefit out of everything that we can offer. And our children are our first and foremost concern. And is everything perfect? No. Are we working every day to make it better and to make a better life for our students? Yes. And people that maybe have not so kind things to say about Jefferson County, they hadn't been there and done that. They don't know. And it's very important that our career tech, it's flourishing. There are so many good, we have so many good instructors. We have a village of people, dedicated, smart, innovative people that, and Dr. Gonson shared some of that with you, every day to make it better. And so we appreciate your confidence in us, and we are going to keep at it.
Questions?
Yes, I had one. What is the enrollment at JCIB?
So we tried to keep the enrollment between 250 and 300, and we are within that range.
All right. between 250 and 300.
Yes, ma'am. And we try to do that at each of our JCIB programs, because we know that when they come together as a school, we'll have about 650, 675. And how we are funded, teacher units, that's that magical number that we try to hit, 650.
Thank you.
I've got one question. You mentioned the enrollment dropped a little bit at, I think,
Three of the
everybody-
schools.
at the English Chase Valley. Would you attribute that to COVID still, people continuing to homeschool or doing stuff like that? Or
I'm
do
gonna
you
tell
have
you-
any data on that?
We saw a shift a couple of years ago when we took Gresham and we did some realignment, and what we saw was there were people along the 459 corridor that decided to move further out to get closer to schools, because what was happening if you on that 459 route, and you have to, that could be a very long commute if you're coming over to Grantswood or Irondale Community. And what we saw the parents did, and that's where the decline came in at, the parents did was they moved one or two apartment complexes closer to the McAdory area. And that's where the McCalla or the McAdory area, we saw that shift there. But we did, across the district, see a decline between COVID of, I think initially it was 1,100 students. And now, 2 years later, we are back within 163 students. So we're seeing new people come back, and we're seeing new people enrolling, but we're also seeing some of our other students coming back.
Thank you.
And that's typical, because I come from New Orleans, and after Katrina, it took us 2 years to find people that were 1 block away from the school. That's just what was going on. You have to be able to reach out to people and make sure that they be re-engaged into the school system.
Yeah, I have one question. No, the long ride used to be from Irondale to Gresham before 459.
Right. And that's exactly
Yeah,
what it was.
yeah, exactly,
Right? Because those parents were complaining,
That's
but
exactly
they had
right.
gotten kind of used to it,
Yeah.
right?
That's right.
And then now when Gresham, it switched, and those people were happy.
They were happy.
But the other group said, no,
They
I
were
got to
happy.
move closer. That's
When
too
you
much.
talk about your tutoring, is that teachers at the school that doing the tutoring, after school tutoring?
Yes, sir.
Are you,
Some of them.
Some of them are.
Yeah, some of them are, and they have the leeway, the principle, the flexibility to hire certified teachers. So, for example, if we can't find anyone within the Irondale area, or not anyone, but not enough teachers within the Irondale area, you will see teachers from across the district apply in different areas when it's open.
So there are opportunities for retired teachers
Oh, yes,
that's certified
sir.
to come and volunteer.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
sir.
And also, Dr. G, what we've done here, we've had a few meetings with the Girls and Boys Club,
Yeah.
Boys and Girls
That's
Club. So we are, we'll still be meeting with them
Yes.
to see what schools may need that after.
Yes, sir.
Because we don't want to interfere with the school that already has a
That's right.
program in place, but we are looking to support a few of the schools with the Boys and Girls Club.
That is
to
so
be able to
needed.
help out.
Yeah.
Because the director of the Boys and Girls Club, they came to see me in Jefferson County. And, let's just face it, guys, we don't have enough room to, our teachers to educate everyone that wants the after-school tutoring, right? So we have to hone in on those kids that really need it.
Right.
But if we go into the communities, there are children that are there, and if we can partner with the Boys and Girls Club that could provide it for those other children that are not receiving it, then we have open arms. We welcome it. So thank you very much, and we will be working with them as well.
Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us this
Thank you.
evening.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Councilman Sims, your report, sir.
Forgot what it were. So thank you everyone for coming out. All the employees have left, but I think the department heads, some of them can still hear me. Thank you very much. I feel like we have the best citizens and the best employees of anywhere in the country, in the world. So it's an honor to sit up here every couple weeks and get to do this. So I'm just thankful we have awesome employees that we can support and awesome citizens that we can support. That's it.
Councilman Box?
Just echoing Councilman Sims' gratitude at being able to serve, which I think that's the most important thing. These employees kind of honored us that way, but bottom line is serving you guys is really what it's all about. So really the honor goes to the citizens, and that's where predominance needs to say. I think Mayor Stewart is an awesome steward of our city. He's doing a fantastic job there, and all of our department heads and employees and everything are going the extra mile all the time. So how can we not do anything but line up with that to serve you guys? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Cuellar.
Yes, two brief things, and then I'm going to turn this over to some gentlemen from Lamar Advertising that want to address the council. First, I want to thank Kim Stewart and everyone who worked on the National Hispanic Heritage Month celebration that took place this weekend, this past Saturday. Kim, y'all did a great job. Everyone that I spoke to, just going throughout, all complimented and said it was a lot of fun. It was a great family event. So thank you so much for the work that you did. Emma, you did an outstanding job. Emma was out there with her camera and getting everything organized as well. Thank you so much. Everyone had a great time. The second thing I'd like to note is that a member of our Irondale community by the name of Mary Sink suffered the total loss of her home and all her belongings due to a fire this past Sunday, October 9th. Miss Sink, thank goodness she was not home. She was at church services when the fire began, and one of her neighbors was able to rescue her dog from the fire. Little background on Miss Sink is she lost her husband a few years ago, and then she suffered the loss of her son from a heart attack about a year or so ago. And so the Bainbridge Trace HOA community is accepting donations to pass along to Miss Sink to help her in obtaining basic essential necessities. There are two ways that donations can be made. The first way is checks can be mailed to the following address: Bainbridge Trace, HOA, P.O. Box 100911, here in Irondale, 35210. Or you can go to Venmo to the Bainbridge Trace HOA. Their treasurer is Roland, Roland, Bergeron, and I'm going to spell it B as in boy, ERGERO, N as in no, at Roland-Bergeron-2. The code is 2556. The total loss of one's home and belongings are not only tragic, but they're very heartbreaking. And I learned about it when I came back into town on the evening of the 9th. And I was crushed when I went to the home. But I want to commend our fire department. They did an outstanding job in getting there as quickly as they could. And my understanding is, based from the feedback from the residents there, is they were coming back and forth to make sure that no other properties were in danger, to make sure that the fire was completely out. So thank you to the fire department. And let us also remember to keep Miss Mary Sink in our prayers. And I'm now going to turn this over to Jason and Ben. Is Ben here? Bob, with Lamar Advertising. The mayor and I sat down with them, I want to say about 3 or 4 weeks ago, in regard to something that we were wanting to work with them on a joint basis, a working relationship with the city. And I'm going to now turn it over to them so that they can present what it is that they're wanting to do with the city.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
Thank you, sir. Which one, you, Ben or Jason?
I'm Jason.
You, Jason.
Go ahead, Mom. Well, like Ms. Square said, that we were approached by the city of Irondale at the location you're looking at. And that sign is about 14 by 19 in dimensions. And I think basically what we're looking at here is an exchange. The city, if we were able to put a digital sign at that location you're looking at, the city would get available space on that digital sign throughout the lease we have with our lessor after we install it. For any special events the city wants to do, any recognition, awards, parades, all kinds of stuff. And if we have available space on that board, then the city gets to use it without any charge whatsoever. And in return, obviously Lamar would get the ability to have a digital sign at the location. That's basically what we're looking at.
Can we ask questions or?
Yeah, now this sign would conform to all state and federal standards.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Would it just be on that one face or on all
Yeah.
three?
Just that one face that you're looking at
Okay.
that faces the artery that it's reading to.
Faces Grants Mill.
Yeah, Grants Mill. Yeah.
I guess the thing you said, if we have available space
Mhm.
and or time, explain that. So we're not guaranteed to have 30 seconds a day, 2 minutes a day. I mean, what's the if mean?
Well, obviously we hadn't got that far yet, but
Okay.
we run 8 spots at a time and rotating for our clients that do that. And as of right now, we only had one location past 5 years or so that ever got 100% occupancy that we couldn't. So it's not a guarantee, of course, but there's always available space. And what we want to prevent is just running the same content over, because we want to give flexibility to the city whenever they have something. We would honor that.
Okay.
The lease is with our lessor there. We don't have a lease with the city, but if the city were to grant us the ability to actually have the sign there, in return, we would grant them the ability to honor high school football championships, whatever. And we would honor the fact that we would make available space, even if we didn't have it for that. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Thanks.
So it's not a guarantee, but
I understand.
we're going to create available space whenever they need it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so who makes those decisions? What goes on the board? Would it be, could it come from the mayor's office, or who, for instance, if you want to put the football state championship or basketball or whatever, who makes that decision?
When we had the discussion, they said that any changes or additions can be done within a 48-hour time frame.
It
But-
could be quicker than that once
Yeah.
we get it all set up.
Yeah.
If you win the state championship on a Saturday and you want to put it up that night, we could probably do it. It's that quick with the art department that we have. It can be sent via email. What the creative copy you want to do, it can be done that quick.
Certainly
Yeah.
within 48 hours.
Oh yeah, certainly within 48.
No, we
Probably
didn't talk about the
Let me kind of put one question. I still didn't answer my question. Who makes that decision for that content to go on the board?
About what runs?
About anything that goes from the city on that board?
It'd
Who
be
makes that
up to
decision?
y'all.
That'd be you guys.
right.
Yeah. Whoever you wanted to
That
create.
was what I was trying to
That's
answer.
council or city? That's
It
mayor's
would be
office?
it would be up to the council to make that decision, and it would seem reasonable to how we're doing our social media, where it goes through our city clerk. I mean, I think that's how we're doing it now, is it not? How we're doing it?
You answer it, Lee.
Yeah.
That's my only question. Who make that decision? I haven't gotten that answer yet.
Yeah, I understand you are
I'm
correct.
I'm not gonna make that decision. I'm just say that that's not my wheelhouse. That's not my wheelhouse.
I would say 80 to 90% of the things that would be posted to be done in a timely manner may not have time to come before the council.
Right.
Right.
There'd be certain guidelines that says that if this goes up, it has to come before the council with everything else. The mayor's, for lack of a better terminology, PR department, and I don't see her here, but I would think the mayor,
Yeah, she's,
the mayor would be able to kind of,
My suggestion would
broadcast
be,
what happened.
yeah, whatever marketing arm you have for your city would be the ones we would probably work with. So whoever's handling your social media, that they would be probably the people that would know, hey, we got a parade that we need to let people know about in 3 weeks. They would know it, and they could send it to our creative team. And
the mayor to me has his finger on the pulse more than anybody, so I would think he would delegate it to whoever he needed
Yeah.
to, and unless there was something that required council approval, which I'm sure he's going to come to the council for.
I know we're getting ready to have a meeting specifically about marketing here in the near future. It might be a good opportunity to kind of address that a little bit. Is that possible?
Yes, it's possible.
Okay. Just kind of
and
streamline
I
that a little
recommend
bit.
you have them reach out to us. Would be great. We'd
Yeah.
love to talk to them.
Well, if there's any question, your best avenue might be just be to promote calendar events from the website.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's any gray area about, I mean, that seems pretty simple.
I do have, may I, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I see.
I know that we have one digital sign in the area, and I don't. It doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime. That joker is cranked up to 11. You can see that thing from orbit. I imagine. I've never been in orbit, but will this have some sort of system on it that during the day I understand it needs to be bright because it needs to overcome the sun, but at night it doesn't need to be,
It's
so will it
adjusted
adjust it?
automatically.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Right on.
Depending on when the sun's up, and even the angle where the sun is, it's much more
Gotcha.
technologically above my pay grade than I could tell. But it is.
That's all I needed to
it
know.
is
It's
adjusted
got a dimmer
automatically,
switch.
yeah. And it's all done by federal and state guidelines.
Okay,
It
cool.
doesn't exceed any of
And I
them.
know she asked that question, but I wasn't sure if that was covered in that guideline. So thank you for that.
Yep.
That's all I've got. That sounds fantastic. Thank you for bringing this to the floor, Councilman Quayle.
you're welcome.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
I guess in order to put a digital sign there, I guess, is it a zoning or an ordinance thing that would have to get changed or just some sort of permit? I'm just curious if there was a thing that needs to happen.
I asked our city attorney, and all we need to do here is just have you go through the regular process. The way you would do with any
So we would
billboard.
ask you for
You would go through the
permit.
regular process that's in place whenever you're going to put up a billboard. Because I did get Butch Gerald's, the mayor asked him, and he said there's not anything that would prevent you right now from doing that. You just need to go through the regular process that you
with the building inspector and
Yes, that's
permitting
correct.
division.
Yes.
Okay.
But I would say at one time, I don't know if you all were here, but someone wanted to put up a digital billboard at Grants Mill Station. And it had a conditional use that was tied to it, which means that it had to come back to the council to approve it before you can just go in and get a permit and go put the sign up.
I think that
Legal.
was due to quantity and mileage. Was that kind of what that was?
No, it had more to do with the question that you just mentioned about the brightness of the sign,
Okay.
the location of the sign, and how the sign would be, how it would be erected and shining there to be able to do that. So that's I don't think is as simple as just coming down here and getting a permit and they sign off on it and you go erect the sign. I mean, if that's the case, they wouldn't be here tonight talking to the council. If that was the case, that it was that simple, because there's no need to talk to you all about anything if we already have everything in place to get it done.
Got you. May I acknowledge John Schoen, please?
Yeah, Mayor, I agree with you. We used to have a design committee that put out an okay on height and sign and size to the signs. We used to have several years ago. It may not be in existence now. It might be something we need to bring up.
Yeah.
Thank you. So their next step, their point man should probably be what woman for that matter?
Well, we were supposed to sit down and have a conversation about all of this before it came to you all in the first place.
Okay.
But that never happened. So this is kind of like news to me to see them here because I didn't know they were going to be here tonight.
Okay. So I imagine
Well-
you should be their next point of contact.
We did receive an email, both the mayor and I did, and so I went on and spoke with Butch Geralds, and Butch Geralds is the one that said that there was no problem with that. They just simply needed to get with the city council. So then I went ahead and asked our city attorney, is there anything that we need to do as a council? And basically, what our city attorney said is they need just go through the regular process, correct? Yes, whatever the process is.
Administration, whatever, if
Yeah.
would call the building.
Right. At the end of the day, that process comes back to the mayor's office.
So you should be their next point of contact. Fair enough. Gentlemen, you have your next steps. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Sounds good.
guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening. Councilwoman Quayle, does that conclude your report?
That concludes the report. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman London.
Are we still on reports?
Yes, we are still on reports.
I thought we was in the deliberation. I'm sorry.
I hope you snag some food on the way to your commute.
I'm sorry. I blanked out there for a second. There's two things quick. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the proclamation. Appreciate that. Two things. I sent all of you a email today on National Fitness Campaign. I think Mel sent it. I think I copied everybody. If you didn't get it, just call me or email me back. Pull it up. Take a look at it. Hopefully, it may come up on the agenda maybe later on. But Mayor, now you and I have a conversation before.
Okay.
But I just want y'all to look at that and take a look at it and see what you think about that. And then also, basketball season is here. We talked about the schedule. So Tuesdays may be out a lot. I'm going to send all of you guys a copy of the schedule, the dates that I'll be out for this season. So I'll make sure I give you a heads up on that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, with everybody's report being given, at this point, we would ask for any reports of boards or non-council committees. Yes, sir.
I'm John Schoen. I'm with the Exchange Club, and we've been pretty active in the past. We have, and I've got a lot of things coming up that I'd like to report on. First of all, Legislator Gary Palmer will be here in the City Council chambers next Tuesday evening. You'll normally meet then, so we thought we could have a gathering here, and he will be speaking, I'm sure, about politics.
Of course you will.
It's 5:30 to 6:30 on Tuesday, the 25th. On Thursday, the 27th, we're having a chili fundraiser and auction from 5 to 7 at the Senior Center. We have probably about 9 or 10 different types of chili, so you'll have your choice, be able to decide which one is the best or worst. We'll have both awards. Also, on the 11th, that's Veterans Day, we serve a breakfast along with the St. Martin's and the Pines for all veterans in the Irondale area. It's free to come in and eat, no problems at all, but just let us know. We kind of like to have an idea of the numbers. You can contact Exchange Club or City Hall or anybody else around here. They'll let us know if you're intending to come. Also, we'll be getting our Christmas in Irondale program where we help anywhere between 30 and 70 families with the Christmas meal and goods for canned goods and stuff, and toys for the children, and a ham or turkey or whatever is available at that time, least expensive. I'll have boxes out for donations to receive here at City Hall, and the library has been real helpful. They get folks bringing canned goods instead of paying fines, which I appreciate that very much. Also, we'll be having boxes at the Senior Center and several other businesses throughout the community. We do work strictly on terms of donations. We are a 501c3 organization, the oldest one in the city. We've been doing the Christmas in Irondale program for about 30 years now. And it's benefited many people throughout our community. We have also offered or had a meal for all our first responders here right around I guess it was the 13th of September, where we fed them everybody a meal. And they really enjoyed it, I think. I did, over at the Jubilee. I think I'm worn out. Y'all are worn out of sitting here too, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Hey, Mr.
Thank you,
Sean,
sir.
can I have one question, sir?
Sure, absolutely.
Mr.
please.
Sean, Mr. John, when is the date that you're gonna give out the tours and things? Do you have a date on that yet?
We will be distributing it, either us physically or having people come by the week before Christmas.
Okay.
So
sometime that week.
it's right at the last minute. We're fortunate because we can operate on a quick basis and don't have to push too many buttons or ring too many chimes to get things done. We got good people working like yourself and several other folks that have helped us out.
Yeah. Do you have a location yet on that?
I will have.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same place.
Same place? Okay.
But I have not contacted them yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we are done with our council reports. And are there any other boards or non-council committees this evening? All right, fair enough. At this point, we'll go ahead. We have 2 public hearings tonight. We'll enter each one separately. We'll exit each one separately. During that time, we'll hear comments for or against these various items. So at this time, I would accept a motion to go into a public hearing.
I make a motion, we leave regular council meeting and go into a public hearing regarding ordinance 2022-28, modifying existing zoning ordinances related to automobile dealerships located within the city of Irondale.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And to Councilman Sims's remarks there, this is to modify existing ordinances related to automobile dealerships located within the city. Basically, this would create, doesn't really change the zoning per se, but kind of creates a special class so that if a automobile dealership wants to locate in one of these zones, they would have to have a conditional use permit. Did I say that correctly? Outstanding. So at this time, we would like to hear any comments for this change. Any comments for this change? Any comments against this change? Fair enough. Thank you very much. Any questions from the council? Councilman London? No, sir. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
questions.
Sims, you're
None.
good? Everybody's good? All right, so motion to leave this public
Make a motion
hearing.
that we leave public hearing and return to regular council meeting.
All right. Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now we move on to our second one. If we could go ahead and enter that one as well.
Make a motion that we leave regular council meeting, go into a public hearing. I'm trying to think, what is this? Oh, regarding resolution 2022 R109, denying a short-term rental business license for the property located at 1901 4th Avenue South.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. So at this time, we have a business license that is up for appeal. So basically, we would like to hear from anyone that is for that would grant this appeal for this business license. Anyone to speak for the appeal of this business license? Anyone? Okay. So just so for your knowledge, there is an ordinance around short-term rentals. There was a business license that was denied for a short-term rental that is up for appeal this evening. So we're just asking if there's any comments for the appeal. Any comments denying the?
Council President, could I make a point? This may be confusing to some people.
Okay.
Who is the business license that this is concerning, the appeal?
The address that's concerning the business license is 1901 4th Avenue South, Irondale, Alabama 35210.
So that property owner is who we're talking about.
So basically, there was an initial appeal. There was a statement that the unit was not owner occupied at that time, and so we halted that appeal. Everybody decided to say stop and halt that. There was a notice that the appeal needed to be brought back up. That was asked to be pushed back, and then it was noticed that this appeal would be finalized and on the docket for this evening.
Okay, very well.
Okay. So any other comments about denying the appeal? We have no comments for, we have no comments against. Councilman London, any questions or comments?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
The only question that I have in regard to this appeal is the owner living on the property as of today?
This is not necessarily, well, I guess that we could go ahead and go into that. If anybody wants to speak towards this appeal, if the property owner wants to come forward and answer that question, then at that time, please feel free to do so. It looks like no one is in our presence to recommend. Oh, okay. Would you like to restate your question, Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes. As you're the owner of the property,
Yes, ma'am.
are you living on the premises?
No, not currently. We have a long-term renter in there currently.
So are you asking for an extension on this appeal?
We did ask for an extension, but it was told to us that it needed to be brought back today.
Legal, can you advise us on that?
I think whenever they were sent the notice in September, they said that they were not currently occupying. And we let them know at that point that the city council needed to rule on their appeal. And so this current date was actually set. And so it is important for their rights that their appeal is ruled upon at some point, just so that it is not left open.
Okay.
And so that is the purpose of actually bringing this back, to see if, the appeal, if the decision of the city council in refusing to grant the business license should be affirmed, or if it should be changed if the appeal shows that it should be changed.
All right. Our current ordinance states that the owner needs to live on the premises for short-term rental. So if the owners are not living on the premises, then
And I think that without putting words in,
Yeah.
I think that's why she did not speak for or against the appeal. Would I be accurate in making that statement?
Right. We didn't choose this date. I mean, this was so.
Understood. And I was remiss, I didn't get your name and address for the record.
Mia Jeffries, 1901 4th Avenue South.
So okay, let me just back up a little bit. So you just mentioned that you don't live there, but you just gave that as your address for the record.
Okay. We only own one property in Iredale, and that's the property we own.
But for the record, that's not exactly where you're residing at,
No.
basically. Okay. Understood. Was your question answered?
I just noted that our short-term rental ordinance, the way it's written today, states that the owner has to live on the premises. And she has just stated that they are not living on the premises.
Hence the lack of up or
Right.
down as far as her appeal goes.
Yes.
Okay. Was there anybody from the dais that had a question?
Legal. Go ahead, Bob.
I guess my question is, you said you did have long-term renters in the property at this time,
That's true.
and you have a business license in that. That's the only question I have.
Okay. Sims.
Whose decision is it to request an extension? Or I guess, is there something that requires it to be decided tonight? Is this something that the owners can request an extension, or is this, I guess, whose ball is that decision in? Who's got the ball there?
Well, basically, the city council has to rule on the appeal at some point.
Correct. I didn't know
It
if-
could be that they want to withdraw their appeal at this point if they don't conform to the ordinance.
We can withdraw it in light of what's on the rest of the agenda this evening. Depending on what comes out of this evening, if we need to reapply, we'll reapply. If it's a moot point, then it's a moot point. So It can be withdrawn.
And
Okay.
I'm not sure that she has the authority to withdraw that because it was not in.
It
your
was in-
name. It was in
Okay.
your husband's name only.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think that at this point, since he's not here to say that, I don't think that, it can be withdrawn, currently. If you wanted to, let him send an email and actually withdraw the appeal, if you continued it again and then they wanted to send an email to withdraw it, that could certainly be done. It could also be ruled upon tonight. So it's up to you.
And tonight's date was disclosed? Okay, fair enough.
Okay, may I have one more question? If, I guess, does the denial of a business license affect at all a reapplication at a later date, January or whenever? Is that,
As of this point, their appeal took place because they applied under the ordinance
current,
that is
correct.
currently in place. The city council issued a moratorium on the issuance of any new business licenses until 12/31 of 2022. So they could not reapply for a short-term business license, until the city council issues the moratorium, until they actually lift the moratorium.
I guess my question is, if they're going to go ahead and withdraw potentially, or if we were to just deny it, that wouldn't, depending upon what happens, I guess, would it negatively affect anybody that got denied coming back, fixing whatever it was they needed to fix, I guess, is my question. On a brand new application at a later date, as long as they conformed with all the rules at that specific time.
A person could come in at any time, and if a business license was permitted under the city code and there was no moratorium in place, if they conform to the requirements of the city code at that point, then a business license would be issued.
All right, thank you.
Councilman London, any questions?
No, I mean, it's self-explanatory. She doesn't live there. The ordinance say.
Fair enough.
Occupied, yeah.
Okay. Any other comments on the dais? Okay. At this time, I would take a motion to exit this this public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you. All right. So now we get into deliberation on agenda items only. Most of these should be pretty straightforward. We got 2 pages. Let's count them down. Item number 1, resolve that resolution 2022 R191 amends the 2023 holiday schedule for the city employees to modify the day of the week noted for Christmas Day to Monday, December 25th of 2022. Councilman London, any questions?
Yeah, hold on. December the 25th of 22 is on a Sunday.
No, that's 2023.
But it's,
I misread that. I apologize. We're issuing it in 4/20. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
this
Got it.
Oh, it's wrong on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's wrong on the
Okay.
agenda.
Yeah.
Should say
Okay.
2023.
All right, okay, I'm good.
Well,
Yep. Thank you.
Killing me. All right.
Councilwoman Quayer, any questions on this?
Yeah, as I studied this further, I'm just a little confused on the wording with Thanksgiving the day after. I just need trying to balance this out. So our employees are going to be off on Thanksgiving Day, which is Thursday. The city is also closed. No one works on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. Is that correct? So why are we needing to have the city closed on Monday?
So this baffled me for the longest time when I
Yeah.
first came on board. You can't think of it in terms of how businesses operate, all right, per se. Municipalities will usually observe the holiday often on a different day that the holiday actually falls on. It's been like that forever. I don't know who came up with the great idea, but that's the way it's always been.
So are there other municipalities that are gonna be closed on the Monday? Is
Quite
that what you're
possibly
saying?
if they choose to observe it on that day.
But it's city policy, right?
Absolutely. And Mayor, you might be able to expand on this a little bit better. We were discussing how cities will often and governmental bodies will often observe a holiday on a different day in which the holiday occurs.
Yes, we follow the same holiday schedule that the federal government follows, that the banking system follows. So if a holiday falls on a person's off day, you still have to give them the holiday. What we decide to do, if it falls on a Friday, they're off on Wednesday. If it falls off on a weekend, they're off on Monday. But you can't deny them their holiday because they're already on their off day. So that's why we have a lot of Monday holidays because of the way that the holidays fall. And you can't take away their holiday just because they're off that day.
All right, so if the holiday is Thursday, the city's closed. The city's also closed on Friday. So why are we closed on Monday?
Because the holiday falls on a Friday. We don't want to be open 2 days a week, just Monday and Tuesday. So we allow the holiday to fall on a Monday. So we have 3 days open on the week of the holiday, and we have 3 days open the week after the holiday.
Come back again. The holiday falls when, sir?
Yes, I just don't know how. I mean, I don't know how to explain it any better.
The holiday falls, if you look at Thanksgiving Day is a holiday which is on Thursday, November 23rd of 2023. We're looking at the 2023 schedule. So the Thanksgiving holiday falls on Thursday. The entire city is closed down on that holiday. The entire city is also closed down on Friday, November 24th. So why are we closed on the following Monday, November 27th?
Because, hold up, John, I'll take care of this.
No, I'm trying to figure out. Have we talked about December 25th?
No, we're talking about November.
Okay.
As long as I can remember, which I started in 2007, the city has always given the employees Thanksgiving Day and the day after Thanksgiving to make sure that we provide 3 days in the week of the holiday and to make sure that there is adequate days to be able to be open, to pick up garbage for the following week. Because they have 2 holidays, they celebrate one on Wednesday and they celebrate the other one on Monday, which gives them the ability to celebrate their holidays plus their off days that they're given by the city.
Councilman Box, you motion for a question.
No, I think the mayor covered everything. I mean, we actually would have people working on Thursday, police and fire. They're on duty.
Yeah, they 24/7.
That's always 24/7.
Exactly. So it goes to the mayor's point. That's why we need the additional day as well.
Yeah, it's only the administrative arm that is closed in public works and water. But fire and police works 24/7. And dispatchers.
Any other questions, Councilwoman Quayle?
No. I mean, it sounds like this is something that has always been done. And my understanding is employees need to have 3 holidays, not 2. Right?
They only get 2 holidays. The holiday is Thursday and Friday.
Right.
So where does the third holiday come in at?
Monday, November 27th. That's
Monday is the holiday that is celebrated that they should receive on Friday.
It's because the city hall is closed on Friday that it moves to Monday. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand it. But that's the reason behind it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to strike a balance between our residents and our city employees is all I'm trying to do. So that we are, as a city, because we can't exist without our residents, okay? That is why we exist, because of the residents. And the residents are entitled to services that the city provides. And so I'm trying to strike a balance here to where it's fair to our employees and it's fair to our residents. And that's the reason I'm asking this question, because the city is in essence closed Thursday, Friday, and Monday. That's the only reason I'm asking the question, so that I'm clear on why it is that we're closed on Monday.
Has your question been answered?
It has.
And I would
Okay.
Thank
like
you.
to ask the question, Council President, how many people on the council is down here on Fridays, have been down here on Fridays to know how many people show up after the holiday? I have. And it's nobody. People are not trying to come to City Hall on a Friday. They're trying to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go do Black Friday shopping. So the last thing that they are trying to do is to come into City Hall and give us money during the holiday when they're trying to go out and spend money.
I go to work. I have to work on Friday.
I'm not following that because the city's closed, and I'm not asking us to open the
Well,
city on Friday.
I'm not asking anybody to follow it.
Yeah.
I'm just, we're in the statement part of the meeting, and I'm just saying that nobody comes down here. Once you get in the week of the holiday, it is very few people that come here to be able to transact business. And I've been in this building for the last 12 years to be able to tell you all exactly that the citizens are not being forgotten. The citizens don't have a chance to be able to transact their business, because everything they can do in that office, they can also do it on the website.
With her question being answered, Councilman Box, do you have any questions?
Then can I just make one statement, okay? I was not
Please, let's-
asking
okay.
about opening City Hall on Friday. What I was saying is most people are ready to conduct their business the following week, the Monday after Thanksgiving. That was all I was saying. I was wanting to know why it was that we were closed on Monday. It had nothing to do with Thanksgiving Day. It had nothing to do with the day after Friday. Most businesses are closed on Thursday and Friday. The question
So-
had to do with Monday, November 27th.
Do you understand how
I
that's
do
observed
understand
now?
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good as well. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 2, resolve the resolution 2022 R192 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with Crime Stoppers of Metro Alabama, Inc. for the amount of $2,500 to provide services to the city, to the citizens of the city relating to the solicitation and collection of information concerning various types of criminal activity occurring within the city and the prompt and expedient transmission of such information to the police department of the city. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
I have no questions, but I do have some comments in regard to our resolution, the service agreement, the way that the wording is on it. If we look on the back of the agreement, number 3, we've had, in attending several council meetings throughout the years, this was always brought up by various council members as to having some kind of a guideline to help us in making decisions on who to fund money to and what have you. When I look at number 3 on the agreement, I would like to suggest that we consider changing the wording to state the following. If the contractor would like to receive funds the following year, a written request needs to be mailed to the attention of the city clerk, along with the following information: the amount of funds requested, how the funds will be used, and how many residents in Irondale are receiving their services. This way we have a summary of how these funds were used, and we can then make a decision based on number 2, when they provide a financial statement or any reports. Because when I looked at some of the financial statements for some of these organizations, and I'm not going to name names, but when you have 93% of your revenue going to pay salaries and office expenses and travel and conventions, and only 7% are for the people they're intended to serve, I have a little trouble with that. And so if we have this added, it lets us know how many of our residents in Irondale are receiving services. I think that's a valid way to approach it.
If we may ask or receive how this item is funded? Is it out of the budget or is this out of a discretionary? It said city next to it, so I wasn't sure who the sponsor was.
It's a line item
Okay.
that the council approved for community programs.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Fair enough.
it's funded.
I'm not saying that we not fund them now. I'm saying in the future that this agreement be revised so that if they ask for funds next year, they mail their request to the attention of the city clerk and they let us know how much they want next year, how the funds are going to be used, and how many residents in Irondale will be benefiting from their services.
We can pick that up at some point in
Right.
time in the
So
future.
that's why I'm asking this to be revised for next year. Okay? Wouldn't be fair to do it this year because we've already approved everything. But for next year, let's revise this.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Councilman Box?
Well, her request is a little unusual in the fact that if we approve it as it is, and it's automatically going to renew annually. So do we not need to revise it tonight if that's what you want? At least that part, because the way I read this is it will renew annually under the same terms and condition, unless we at least cancel 60 days. Well, I think we need to visit this at a later time because it's here now and it looks like a good thing. I'd like to know exactly what it does provide for the citizens. That'd be a good thing to let our citizens know, what they can do with it. I know I don't know what we do with it, so that'd be a great thing. I don't mind passing it as it is, other than the fact of it's just going to automatically renew. I think we need to adjust the automatic renewal and let it come back yearly, unless that's a major problem with the organization we're presenting it to.
Chief?
That's what I was asking.
Perfect.
No, this, again, I wasn't targeting any organization at all.
Yes.
I'll be willing to, and I'm sure Chief Axe will be willing to get that information.
Please, Chief, thank you.
Sure, yeah. You want to come up? One of the things that we try to do is we invite Crime Stoppers out to every event we have. They've been to National Night Out, they've been to our cornhole tournament, and he can explain it better than I can, but it's an opportunity to get information to our citizens that has information or may get information, how it can help the police. We have detectives, but they've got people that can get information out to multiple agencies immediately. They do information through mail outs, information through Facebook, their Facebook along with ours. But also, I'll let you explain more of that. But I just wanted to, as far as our citizens, they are really involved in all of our community events.
Right.
To get information out to the
Chief
citizens.
Wiggins?
Yeah.
Again, what Crime Stoppers submitted, very informative.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the questions. You provided us with everything that we need. And again, I did not want to mention any group at all. This had to do with the agreement that we have.
Right.
And as he stated, he doesn't have a problem with changing this. And that's all this is. You're going to get the funding. Every organization, I'm not saying that we not fund the organizations that we've already approved. I'm simply asking that we amend this third
Sure. And,
paragraph.
Mr. Box had mentioned that he
Right.
wanted to know some information. And he may not, some of you may not know, that's why I asked him to be here if you had questions
Right.
about it. But it's another source for us to get information out to help us solve crimes. We've had homicides where they were able to get information out, and we may not be able to get that information out as quickly as they can.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to speak on it. If you had any other questions, he was here to answer any questions.
No, I
Nope.
would love for our citizens to hear so they can see the benefit of what we're doing, because I think it's a wonderful benefit. So I'd love for them to hear though.
Matter of fact, he spoke
Yes,
it.
we got all the information, but the citizens don't always get it. So what do you do? Just a thumbnail sketch.
My name is Ken Atkinson. I'm actually was supposed to be here for 5 years when I retired from here on
Chief.
Crime Stop.
Chief.
But,
Chief.
They tape it on the mic.
my name's Ken Atkinson. I'm with Crime Stoppers. We actually serve, we're called the Crime Stoppers of Metro Alabama, and we actually serve 8 counties, Jefferson being the predominant one. But we're very involved with the communities that we serve. Matter of fact, I was across the street cooking hamburgers today for the police department. But we come to all the national night outs. We operate our Facebook page. We're in close contact with all the different detectives from the different police departments. And when we receive a tip, we take that tip, and Crime Stoppers is completely anonymous. When you contact Crime Stoppers, if you call us, it comes up as City of Birmingham. We don't have your phone number. We can't tell who you are or where you're calling from. But you submit us information. If it's about a crime in, say, Irondale, then we take that, we forward it to the 3 detectives in Irondale, 4 detectives, whoever, and just give them that information. Hopefully they can use it, but we just provide that information for them. One thing we've done here lately is in Bessemer, we had a UAB professor that was, it was a homicide in Woodlawn. We have sent out mailers, just like we had them created, professionally done by a printer, with information about a homicide, sent them out. We paid for the mailer to be produced. We paid for the mailing. And we basically are there for your police department. Anything, if their detectives need our help with a case to get information out, then we're going to post it on our Facebook page or Twitter, any social media. We'll put up a billboard, whatever it is we need to do. So we're really here just to serve all the citizens of Irondale and serve the police department. And if you have a question about Crime Stoppers, I'll be happy to answer it.
Thank you for all you do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Question satisfied?
I'm good. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
Thank you again for coming to the Holiday Gardens Neighborhood Association meeting last week and explaining everything. I'm good with this to keep renewing. I hope that no one in Irondale has to use it, because that means that they don't know any information about some crimes, and hopefully we don't have any crimes that we're having to go to them to do stuff like billboards and mailers and stuff like that. So I think they're a great organization, and I'd like to support them.
Fair enough. And Chief Atkinson, it was great to see you this evening. Look forward to seeing you around more often when the time permits. Thank you, sir. Okay, do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Again, this wasn't against Crime Stoppers. It was a request that we consider changing that item number 3 in this service agreement for next year. Not this year, but next year, which tells us in any organization that approaches us the amount of money that they want, how they intend to use it, and how many residents in Irondale are being serviced.
I understand.
Crime Stoppers provided us with all of the information. Many of these organizations did not. And this is why I'm asking that we consider adding this so that it's written and we can give them this information, and they will do it next year.
I understand. Thank you.
Well, I guess as far as serving Irondale, I guess the only thing they'll be able to provide is, I guess, specific items they spoke to our police about, because any citizen that calls, it's anonymous. They would have no idea if someone was an Irondale citizen or not.
We're not talking about
point of
Crime
order.
Stoppers.
Real quick, guys. If we're talking about implementing a policy, that's great. We can talk about that at another meeting. We're talking about an agenda item and whether we're going to grant $2,500 to these guys. So if we're talking about a policy, we can have that conversation at a work session. I understand the intent of your question. I think we're in a place where we can move on. Am I wrong or am I right?
The service agreement is the same for every organization making the request.
Okay.
It's not just Crime Stoppers, okay? So when I looked at the financials for other organizations,
right,
that's when I said, well, gee whiz, instead of renewing this, why don't we have them submit the request in writing, let us know how much they want, let us know how they intend to use it, and let us know how many residents in Irondale are being served.
So you're talking about implementing a policy at this point, right?
Well, just modifying the service agreement that every organization that's on our agenda is going to be signing.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
It's not denying them funding. It's
so
just,
are we ready to move forward?
go ahead, April.
I just wanted to say something in answer to Councilman Box's, question earlier, concerning the renewal of the agreement. What the city council could do is it could allocate the money in any budget that it chooses in the future. It could allocate it in the amount of the $2,500, and it would go forward underneath this agreement. And so then at that point, you would not even need to come back and revisit this agreement. If, say, you allocated, $3,000 in the next, fiscal year, actual budget, then at that point, you would need to come back and revise the agreement. And so this would allow you to proceed forward without having to put this on the council agenda in a resolution form every year, such that you would just be approving the allocation as part of the annual budgeting process.
I thank you. That answers my question thoroughly, because next year's we can allocate $5,000 or $1,000. We can just allocate it under the budget, but it automatically, the agreement renews, so we don't have to come back for an agreement.
Only if you didn't change the amount.
Okay, so the amount does have to stay the same. Very
Correct.
good. Thank you, April. Appreciate the
But
education.
we could make the amendment to this agreement because they're the same for every organization. Could we make the amendment to this agreement with the wording?
That would be up to the council.
Right.
So we're talking about, your desire is for us to amend every service agreement that we're talking about this evening.
Right, but they're still going to get the funding. They're going to, when they receive the check, they receive the service agreement, they get it, they read it, and they know what to do next year.
And specifically the part that is bothering you is specifically.
Right. The part is that I would like for them to submit a written request, letting us know that they're asking to be funded, how much they would like to receive, how they intend to use the funds, and how many residents in Irondale are receiving their services. I think most of us do that with our own personal donations, and I'm wanting us to do that with the city's resources so that we are responsible in keeping track of, because again, I did look at the financials. They were 340 pages worth of
I understand.
financials.
If I may
And I
pose
did
a
read them,
question.
and that's why I felt it was necessary to make this amendment.
Is this something that can be easily done, Mayor? Because I understand her concern. She wants accountability on tax dollar spends. I get what she's saying. Okay. Is this a request that is easily modified?
I mean, yes. I mean,
Okay.
It's the only reason we try to do it this way is because every organization that you see has been here. They've already been here. Kind of like the automatic renewal right now is because everybody that you see are people that have already been, here before the city of Irondale. I mean, I don't see what we got to do that. I don't see what we got to sit up here and modify 10 agreements tonight. It's something that could be done in the future, even to the point of creating a financial document that when everybody reports their information, it's the same information for everybody, and not somebody that may have a CPA to be able to do their statements versus somebody that may have done it in QuickBooks. So the statements are not even, it's not all comparing all apples to apples and oranges to oranges when you read the financial statements. So I would say I don't think we have to do it tonight, but I think that it could be done in the future to pass a resolution that states everything that's being stated tonight. But I don't think we have to do all 10 of them tonight.
Is that fair?
I'm not asking us that we deny funding or anything. And again, I understand we have nonprofit organizations here in Irondale that are very simple. They don't have complex. They don't need a CPA. They submit a very simple statement. No problem with that. No problem with the Form 990s that we received. That is not the issue. The issue is that when I do examine the 990s and you have 93% of of the revenue being allocated for salaries
let's
and
get back to the
expenditures,
point here. Let's get
I
back
would
to the
like-
point.
Can I say
I understand what you're advocating.
So
Yes,
can I
sir.
say something, Council President? I mean, really, when you put resolutions out for a vote, I mean, everybody does not have to agree to it.
I understand. We can move on this on a
Yeah,
majority.
and if they don't agree with the process, they just need to vote no, and we move on, because each one of you all are 1/5 of a vote, not 5/5 of a vote. So I'm just encouraging us to go ahead and move on. If somebody wants to vote for it, they can vote for it. They don't want to vote for it, they don't have to vote for it.
Being what he is saying being completely accurate, I understand where you're coming from, which is why I've indulged this. I get what you're saying. Do we want to, considering there is, so I will go with the temperature of the body, since I know that you're saying you don't want to deny funding, but there's ultimately a problem with the service agreement. Therefore, the contract that we would be approving tonight, short answer, we would not be able to approve it unless it was amended on this floor. And I don't think we're going to amend 10 contracts this evening. So Councilman London, would you like to see these items removed from the agenda, or would you like to proceed as presented?
I'd like to proceed as presented, and if you want to talk about it later, let's talk about it later.
Councilman
We
Box,
spent too
would
much
you
time
like
on
to,
that.
thank you, sir, I appreciate
Thank you,
that.
sir.
Would you like to continue these, or would you like to proceed as presented?
We can proceed as presented, because I see we can either unfund or redo these at any time. I do see that Councilman Quayle has a good point that we could visit later in an ordinance meeting or an appropriate meeting.
Councilman Sims?
I'm good to continue.
Okay. Now, being that the fact that all of these have a similar trait, are you saying that we need to remove all these from consent so they could be voted on accordingly?
I wasn't asking us to remove them. I was simply asking that we amend the agreement. I asked our city attorney if it could be amended without removing it. She said it could. And so there's no problem with
But now we
making
have
the
to,
amendment.
now we all have to agree on this language for every single service contract. Do you have something typed up that you would like to present?
I just read it to you. It's right here.
So that verbatim addresses your concerns?
Yes. And I discussed it with our city attorney before we came to council meeting.
Gotcha. The body is good to move as presented. I would go ahead and do so. That being said, do you agree with these being on consent or no?
I'm going to abstain from these items.
Fair enough. Item number 3, Resolution 2022 R193 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with Heidi's Kids in the amount of $2,500 to provide services to the city of Irondale, to provide for those in the community in need and/or with food insecurities, and to promote the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions. And I'm only skipping you, Councilwoman Quayle, because you said you were going to abstain. If you have a different question, please give me okay. Item number 4, Resolution 2022 R194 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with Fishes, Loaves, and Love in the amount of $1,500 to provide services to the city of Irondale, to provide for those in the community in need and/or with food insecurities, and to promote the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilman Box?
No question.
Councilman Sims?
None.
Myself, none. Legal, just double check me on something. Being the fact that we have a known abstention, should I be still considering these for consent, considering we have an abstention? I mean, it's a no vote. It's not a yes or a no. Can I still keep these items on consent if the body approves it? I was thinking no, but I just wanted to double check. Right.
It's not a vote, period.
It's not a vote,
So
period.
it's just like the person is not here.
So we can still vote to keep these on consent if we choose to do so. Okay. Item number 5, I figured before we got too far in the process, we might as well clear that up. Item number 5, the resolution that 2022 R195 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with Shoes That Fit in the amount of $2,500 to provide services to the city of Irondale, to provide for those in the community in need or with clothing insecurities, and to promote the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilman Box?
No question.
Councilman Sims?
None.
and myself, none. And then we kind of stopped a little bit there on regarding the Crime Stoppers. I know we're on item number 5 now. We agree to keep 2, 3, 4, and 5 on consent given legal's recommendation.
Yes.
Outstanding. Item number 6, Resolution 2022 R196 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with the Friends of the Irondale Public Library for $5,000 to provide services to the citizens of Irondale through the promotion of the Irondale Public Library, such as library summer reading program and sponsoring programs for the library. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions. We agree?
Yes.
Yes, outstanding. Item number 7, resolve that 2022 R197 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with the Prescott House for $2,500 to provide services to the children of Irondale who are victims of abuse. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
None.
And myself, none. Do we agree?
Yes.
Fair enough. Number 8, Resolution 2022 R198 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with the United Way of Central Alabama, Inc. for $5,000 to provide programs for the benefit of senior citizens of the city of Irondale, to include the Meals on Wheels program. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
None.
And myself, none. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 9, Resolution 2022 R199 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with the Exceptional Foundation for $2,500 to provide services to individuals with special needs in Irondale whose needs may not be met by social and recreational programs. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilman Box?
No questions on that one.
None.
Councilman Sims? You're good? Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 10, Resolution 2022 R200 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with United Ability for $2,500 to provide innovative services connecting people with disabilities living in Irondale to their communities and empowering individuals to live full and meaningful lives. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilman Box?
No, sir.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
Myself, no questions. We agree?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 11, resolve that Resolution 2022 R201 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with the Marcia Kelly Sutton Foundation for $3,000 to provide services to the citizens of Irondale through the promotion of education throughout the year in the city of Irondale. This amount is funded as follows: $2,500 from the fiscal year 22-23 community community programs budget, and $500 from the fiscal year 22-23 discretionary fund of Councilman London. Councilman London, anything you want to say in regards to this?
No question.
Councilman Box?
No question.
Councilman Sims? And myself, none. We agree?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 12, resolve the resolution 2022-R202 authorizes the payment of public funds to the Irondale Middle School for an amount not to exceed $255 from the 2022-23 fiscal year discretionary fund of Councilman John London to be used exclusively for an Irondale Middle School volleyball champion banner for the promotion of youth sports in the city of Irondale. Councilman London, would you like to say anything about this?
Yes, just a quick note. I know Shays Valley High School had a success season, but the middle school also won the championship in volleyball. So I just want to get them a banner for their to hang on the wall for.
Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions on this?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No question.
Councilman Sims?
None.
And myself, none. It's exciting about their success this year. Item number 13, Resolution 2022 R203 authorizes the payment of public funds to Shades Valley High School in the amount of $2,500 from the 2022-23 fiscal year budget to be used exclusively for the volleyball team at Shades Valley High School. Councilman London, any questions? Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No question.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
Myself, no questions either. Okay, I believe we've all agreed to keep all of those on consent. Okay. All right, now we transition into regular agenda. Item number 1, resolve that resolution 2022 R 119 makes a determination concerning the appeal of the denial of a business license for short-term rental to be located at 1901 4th Avenue South, Irondale, Alabama 35210, pursuant to Section 18, Ordinance Number 2017-47. Little housekeeping real quick. I just need to double check something. Fantastic.
Upon further thinking about it, the actual appellant did not show here to provide, evidence as to his appeal. And so at this point, the city council will actually have to consider if it has been provided evidence that would overturn the city council's original decision, which would be to not issue the business license. And so if you find that there has not been evidence that would support overturning your initial ruling, that there should not be a business license issued in this particular situation, then you would, then you would actually not overturn your first ruling.
Council London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman McQuarrie?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
The only question I have is, so really, we're not honor bound in any way to continue this since that appellate did not show up.
That would be up to y'all.
Thank you.
Based on the fact if we feel sufficient evidence was presented to us this evening.
Or you feel that there was.
Or was not, or lack of, yeah.
After the appellant received, notice and confirmed in writing that he did, know that there was going to be a public hearing and
Okay.
that his appeal was going to be considered tonight.
Councilman Sims, any questions?
No questions.
And myself, no questions. I've got ordinance kind of rules underneath this resolution. Are you just recommending that just for clarity? Or is that just a mistype? I know often we take resolutions through the ordinance process, so I just wanted to double check that.
On item number 1.
Yes, ma'am.
No, this would be just a resolution.
This is just a resolution. Okay, perfect.
I would also like to say, upon further consideration of the question asked earlier concerning the abstention on the service agreements as part of the consent agenda, since the consent agenda is approved in one vote, then, an abstention as to, any items on the consent agenda, would actually be an abstention as to all items. So if you chose not to vote on, any of those items, then you would be choosing not to vote, on all of them. So if you wanted to, vote on certain items on the consent agenda, then
We need to move on.
then you would need to remove them
Understood.
and actually work them through individually.
Okay.
Can I clarify? So an extension would allow them to pass, correct?
What she is saying is that
On
yes,
consent.
the abstention does not get in the way of the consent, but not every item on the consent agenda was pertaining to a service agreement. So therefore, by abstaining, she is abstaining the ability to vote on things that she might be in favor for, as well as abstaining. So if she cares to have her voice counted on the record of those particular items that are not service agreements, it might be prudent to move those to the regular agenda. Does that help?
Yeah.
Do you have that desire to do so to some of those items since we're here?
I would abstain whether you moved them to the agenda, to the unfinished business under regular agenda or under the consent agenda. I would abstain.
What we're giving you the ability to do is vote on things that were not necessarily service agreements. Like if you cared to vote
Yeah,
on item
12
number
12
one.
and 13, I voted consent.
Okay.
On 12 and 13,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I think what April, I think,
Said though,
yeah.
you since you're abstaining on any of the consent agenda, then your abstention is going to be for the complete consent agenda.
Right.
Is that accurate, legal?
That's what she's saying.
So if you want to vote on, say, item 12 or
Right.
13, if you want to actually vote on
Mhm.
those, or if you want to give your consent for it, then the ones you're abstaining from would now have to be removed from the
Right.
consent agenda.
That's correct.
Is that accurate?
Or vice versa.
Or vice
No,
versa.
no, it's the one, it's the ones that is not not an abstention. Those the ones that would have to be moved, because if you abstain from one, you abstain from all.
From the whole?
So if she cares, if she wants her vote counted on, say, item number 12 and 13, when the agenda is introduced, it just needs to be brought out from underneath the consent agenda and put
I would
on
like
the
that.
regular.
I would
And then
like that.
the same thing if with the holiday schedule.
Right.
And so it would be, I think items number 12 and 13 you were vocal about. And would you, basically, are you saying you want those moved to the regular?
Yes, as well as number 1.
Okay, so item number 1, reg. Item number 12 and 13, reg. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then abstaining from the rest. Fair enough. Thank you.
And item number 1 on the consent agenda should be noted as that it's being modified to 2023.
Yeah.
So when that is introduced, if y'all can make that adjustment as well as the other ones. All right, so let's go here to, so we've deliberated on the business license. We know where we stand on that from legal. We'll go through the process. Item number 2, ordain that 2022-25 allows short-term rentals less than, so these are our dueling ordinances, all right? So ordinance 2022-25 allows short-term rentals less than 30 days within the city of Irondale, provides regulations therefore, and repeals all ordinances of the city in conflict through with. I'm just going to go in order. Councilman London.
No question.
So you see how we have to, I think you were out when we went into
Yeah,
this
I went
process.
through
We
it.
have
I went
two
through all
different,
that. Yeah.
okay. Now, so item number 2 and 3 are tied at the hip. So we're going to need to make a decision before this agenda is introduced of whether one lives and which one does not live or is revoked.
No, I don't think so. We actually just vote on it. It should be taken in
Well,
order.
okay, fair enough. My bad. I guess I was still messed up from the last 2 weeks process.
It was fun.
Delete. Fair enough. All right. So Councilman Lennon has no questions on
No
number 2. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
The only question I have is if we were to look at item number 2, is there a way that we could bring that back to an ordinance committee meeting to modify some of the things in there?
Yes.
So, per se, if both item number 2 and item number 3 were to either be continued or tabled, we could visit and have some more issues that have come up with at an ordinance committee meeting.
Yes.
Yes, it's, okay, that's all my questions.
Copy. Councilman Sims?
Well, I think, again, I think, again, let's see. We had an incident. We passed ordinance. It was not perfect when we voted on it. We've had some time pass. We've heard complaints and heard about what's going on. So this is, I guess, my attempt to try to take a step forward and take what we had, build on it, see where we were weak before, make it stronger, and take a step forward. In 6 months, we might want to take it again if we'll see some other things and, hey, let's add this. Let's, again, it's an ordinance. We can adjust it whenever we want. The second thing is I saw an email. So I just want to make it here clear on the record. I do not have a short-term rental. I've not represented anybody in Irondale that has a short-term rental or is looking for a short-term rental. I think I've got one client that might put one in Birmingham one day. So I have no interest in short-term rentals as far as, me being a real estate agent. Just to put that out there. So this doesn't impact me directly at all. I just think it's the thing to do. I don't think we should harm. 2 people have been operating it the way we established a few months ago. And I just think, anyone that's not operating the way we have established in our ordinances, just, again, beef up the violations and make them write checks, and they'll either act right or they'll quit.
Okay. As far as this goes, Councilman London, so we basically, I think we have, are you saying that we would, so you're advocating for item number 2? So, I mean, I think you want this to stay on the floor as we're Councilman Box. It sounds like you were talking about continuing this. And item number 3 for that matter.
Approval of the agenda, that's when I will discuss those things.
Fair enough. Item number 3. Now, keep in mind, item number 2 and item number 3 are both ordinances, but they've already had a first reading, so it is a motion and a second on these bad boys. So item number 3 would be ordained that ordinance 2022-26 prohibits all short-term rentals less than 30 days within the city of Irondale and repeals all ordinances of the city in conflict therewith. Councilman London, any questions on this?
Yeah, well, just comment, and when I had a question with the 2 incidents that happened in Irondale. Where are we with that? Do we know? Any question?
From an investigational standpoint, I do not have an answer for you.
Mayor, do you have
Maybe one of our, have y'all received any feedback regarding any of that? That's what I've heard as well. Okay.
So as far as the home concern, is it still Airbnb?
I do not know if that's been pulled, that property. Do you know? I know that we monitor those on a regular basis. I don't know if that property's been pulled off of Airbnb. Do y'all know if it's still an Airbnb and active? No, it's sold. It's sold? Okay.
So you have a tenant live there now?
You have a neighbor instead of a renter? Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Are they located next to your residence? That's Wonder Lane. Okay. I'm glad that's taken care of. I'm glad you have a rental there. That changed my perspective on this. The banning, I know I was verbal about banning. As revisiting some of the Airbnb properties, there are some folks out there that are doing it the right way. And I don't want to really punish them, but I think the fines, like Councilman Sims said, needs to be substantial. If they're not doing what the ordinance say, then we need to make sure they're not here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Only comments I have is that the revisions to the ordinance came about because of community concern for the potential for increased crime, traffic, noise, and high occupant turnover when it's short term, and density in the city's residential zoning districts. These are residential zoning districts. We need to keep that in mind. And it has been identified as a community concern. And it also has a potential, as we know in hindsight, to create a danger to the health and safety of residents in residential neighborhoods, nearby residential properties, neighborhood areas, and residential zoning districts. That is a reason that we held the ordinance committee meeting. And this is the result of that input from our residents. And this is why this ordinance 2022-26 prohibits short-term rentals. It doesn't do away with them completely because anyone that owns a property can rent it out 30 days or more. This has to do with less than 30 days in residential neighborhoods. That's all I have to say.
Councilman Box?
My only comment is, if we don't pass either of these ordinances tonight, I want to explore increasing general liability insurance from our standard. I don't know exactly what it is, but I want to put a lot of teeth and have owners of these properties, if they're allowed to be in the city of Irondale, to have a very large general liability policy and possibly an umbrella policy that would allow our citizens to have a more motivated legal representative because of a larger policy that's available to go after. And as Councilperson Sims said, have a much more strict punishment available. Totally banning it is fine too, but I believe totally banning it may wind up giving us more legal and policing issues than we already have. That's my comments.
Councilman Sims?
I just think, I mean, the issues we've had and have been presented to us over the last several months have been from property owners not abiding by the ordinance, which caused us to have to do enforcement and citizens to be upset. And I think if we ban them, the people who have been following the rules are going to follow the rules and not have them. And the people who have not been following the rules are going to continue to not follow the rules. We're going to still have compliance. We're going to still have enforcement. And what will have we solved at that point? We'll have just harmed a bunch of people who've been, using this as part of their livelihood, or, paying kids to go through college or for their retirement, and continue to have the same issues we've been having.
My only comment, I think both ordinances have great merits. There's the good parts of this one, there's good parts of that one. My only problem with any of it is the fact, like what was just repeated, is that nothing was caught on film, so the police have no evidence to work with to find out who the person was who actually pulled the trigger. So there's that. The police can't move forward with an investigation, and the rental platform is doing absolutely nothing they can whatsoever to bring that property owner forward and hold them accountable. So, yes, am I a fan of restricting people from doing stuff? Absolutely not. I just think that there's no, we can make them pay a $1,000 or $500 fine or something like that, but it doesn't replace someone if they're lost, especially knowing the fact that we can't pin down the person who pulled the trigger, and the rental platform isn't giving us any help whatsoever. So that's where I'm coming from on it.
Councilman President,
Yes, sir.
a couple other things. I think with the first ordinance, what protects us is that they have to be owner occupied, which is, I think, is a key word. Anything that's not owner occupied can't be Airbnbs, which I like. And also what I like, and the ones I visited in Irondale, they're pretty nice properties. The people are, I mean, they really take care of them, of the property that I frequent and saw. So it's not like you have a broken down place next to you. You have a pretty nice place. On the other hand, if this place is rented, then you don't know what you may get also in a rental property. And we have numerous of rental properties in the community also. Even on my street neighborhood, Holiday Garden is full of them. That Wonder Lane, Air the Lane is full of rental properties. So the same safety things could go between our Airbnb and rental properties. So the difference between the Airbnb and the rental, the Airbnb is pretty nice. It's a pretty nice property, and they're owner occupied, so you're not gonna have any problems with the owner occupancy, which I think. And then this is a legal question, I guess. The liability insurance, I think, in the ordinance is $1 million. That's something we decided. I missed that meeting. Is that the going rate, or can we up that, and also the permit fees and the fines? Yeah, we can up both of those.
But if you did, you would need to, reread this ordinance.
Okay.
The ordinance that you did change, because it would be a substantive change to the first reading. So it would need another first reading or a passage or a suspension of the rules.
Okay. So my thought is, because we want to make sure they're doing the right thing. And I think if we up the liability insurance, up the permit fees, maybe even up the fines, I think we have everybody doing what they need to do. That's just my comment.
Second round, Councilwoman Cuellar.
Legal, if someone owns two parcels on one lot, two homes, would it be correct to say that they're living in both homes?
In R1, there's only one residence allowed per lot, I believe. So that would actually, you would not be able to have two homes on one R1 lot. Am I getting that right, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay.
So someone on the deed, if it says that there are two homes on that deed, would it be legal for them to live in one home and rent out the other one that's on that deed?
It wouldn't be recommended to talk about certain situations.
Okay. Okay.
Councilman
Thank you.
Box?
Were you through, Councilman Brett?
I am. I've made the comments that we've heard. I'm not going to repeat myself.
Okay.
No, I'm
Okay.
I'm looking at something when we approve.
Fair enough. And Councilman Sims, any parting shots?
I just want to let Councilor London know that the fees were higher. I think the state had the maximum penalty.
Maxed out.
Penalty, not the actual. You were
The
talking
violation.
about the permit.
The
fees,
permit
correct?
fees,
Right.
correct.
The actual
Yeah, it
violation.
was.
Not the actual
It went
violation.
from, I think, what, 200 to 500?
I remember that.
So it's more than double. And then the violations are now, or in this version that I introduced, I guess, the max of $500, and it's per day. Each day, I think, can be established as a separate violation, so it can accrue decently if someone's not following the rules.
Once again, raising the insurance level, I think it would help our people that have emotional trauma or pain. So,
Okay.
Councilwoman Spivey, can I redirect one more time?
Yes, ma'am.
Because what hasn't been mentioned is I mentioned our residents, but I'm also going to talk about our city employees, and that is that we've heard from them, and they are spending a lot of time policing and trying to enforce these things. Our city clerk is spending a lot of time. And that's the reason that we had the ordinance meeting, is we heard from the residents, we heard from our employees, and it's trying to help solve this continual problem that we're having. And this is why we came up with, hey, this is too much, having to keep up with someone being there one weekend, and then this following week, then there's another one, but they're not actually staying on the property. Our employees have a lot on their plate, and this is giving them a lot of additional work to have to enforce and keep up with. And so this is why we felt we can always come back and revisit it if we have to, because that's been mentioned, well, we can revisit it. But I'm looking out for our residents, and I'm looking out for our employees. And let's just go ahead and move forward with this, and then we can revisit it.
It's about to
Thank
come
you.
up. Yes, ma'am. All right, item number 4 under new business, ordain that ordinance 2022-27 modifies chapter 18, article 1, division 2, section 18-14 of the municipal code of the city of Irondale, Alabama, to correct ordinance 2022-19 previously approved by the city council at its regular meeting on September 6 of 2022. Jared, are you still with us, and would you be willing to speak for just a moment?
Eating all the cake.
So this was just a miscommunication, and it's just to fix an error that was in the ordinance the first go around, and it's just a correction, so we can bill correctly when we do billing in about a week and a half for the water.
It was just, but like you said, to your point, it was just a clarification, just getting
Yeah,
some
it was,
information
what happened is
streamlined.
the $2 that went on garbage, got put on the minimum bill and then per thousand. So we just wanted to make sure they got removed. The only thing we just needed the minimum usage to come down. So it was just a typo.
Copy. Council London, any questions for the gentleman?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions, thank you.
Councilman Box?
No question.
Councilman Sims?
None.
And myself, none. Thank you, sir. That is an ordinance, so we'll have to go through the full process.
Councilman Spivey?
Yes, ma'am.
If I could note also that on either one of the short-term rental ordinances, they would not, be effective until January 1st of 2023. And so anyone who currently, has a short-term rental license, could actually use that license through the end of their license, term.
Understood. Thank you. Item number 5, ordain that ordinance 2022-28 modifies Appendix A zoning related to automobile dealerships and to repeal all ordinances and parts of the ordinance of the City of Irondale in conflict therewith. We've had a conversation about that already in our public hearing. All right, so at this point, I do believe we are ready to approve an agenda. Someone could go ahead and put that on the floor with the moving pieces and the adjustments.
Make a motion that we approve the form of the agenda by moving item 1 to the regular agenda and changing the date to December 25th, 2023. That items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 remain on the consent agenda. Move item 12 and 13 to the regular agenda. Table or continue items 2 and 3.
We have a motion on the floor for the agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. I feel like I've been writing my 101 questions for confirmation here with all this red and blue and black ink on this bad boy. All right. That being said, want to go ahead and accept any comments on agenda items only at this point. Agenda items only.
Terry Johnson, 1504 Monticello Road. I asked the council to vote no on both of the short-term rental proposals that are on the table tonight. Continue the moratorium that's in place, and go back to the drawing board with the ordinance committee.
Thank you. You will be relieved because they're continued, so they're not on the agenda for this evening.
Moratorium's continued as well.
Yep. All right. Any other question and any other comments on agenda items only? Yes, sir.
Colin Galletley, 3580 Bermuda Drive, City Council, Mayor. Concerning the charities, I looked through this, the charity list, and there's quite a variation. There are 3 in here that are so small. Items 3, 4, and 11 is Heidi's Kids. The one from Leeds, number 4, and number 11 is less than $50,000 of annual revenue. So I hope that the people running this are mostly volunteers, because a lot of their monies would be sucked up by administrative cost. Whereas number 5, Shoes That Fit, number 8, United Way of Central Alabama, and number 10, United Ability, A+. They are outstanding. They are 95% of their monies go to the programs, and they receive ratings of about 95. The other 2 were quite a bit lower. They were on the Charity Navigator is one of 2 or 3 different websites. If you're looking for information on what to ask charities, go to a couple of websites. One is Charity Navigator, and I forgot the other 2 or 3, but just take a look, and there's some information like what I just found here that will help you a lot on deciding if you need to continue something that you've had for several years because their efficiencies have gone down. They might have been fine when you first had them, but for whatever reason. So that's my comments on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. They will be continued for a later date. So the current ordinance stands and the moratorium on new license also still stands. At some point in time in the near future, hopefully, or when we have an opportunity to meet again and get on the same page. Thank you. Perfect. Any other comments on agenda items only? Okay. That being said, I would take a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
Motion approved consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All right. Moving on to the regular item number 1. If someone could introduce item number 1.
I make a motion that resolution 22-R-119 concerning the appeal of the denial of the business license for short-term rental to be located at 1901 4th Avenue South, Irondale, 35210.
I'm going to stop you for 1 second before you make a motion. And my bad for not saying which item number 1, so I apologize, but the item number 1 that we removed from the consent agenda to the regular is the
Sorry.
one we need addressed at this moment.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Go ahead.
Make a motion that resolution 2022-R-191 be approved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right. Item number 12 from what was on consent.
Make a motion resolution 2022-R-202 be approved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion that resolution 2022-R-203 be approved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. All right. And then, ma'am, if you would care to pick back up where you left off.
I make a motion that resolution 2022-R-19, which makes a determination concerning the appeal of the denial of a business license for short-term rental located at 1901 4th Avenue South, Irondale, 35210, pursuant to Section 18, Ordinance Number 2007-47, be denied.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Is that R119?
R119.
R119. Yep.
That's just concerning the appeal.
That is concerning the appeal. That was, I believe, everybody answered in the affirmative on that, correct?
Correct.
Outstanding. All right. Item number 2, if someone could take us through, that's right, I'm sorry, we tabled, continued at 2 and 3. If someone could take us through the process on item number 4 under new business.
I make a motion that ordinance 2022-27 be considered read.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2022-27.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Make a motion that ordinance 2022-27 be adopted and approved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And the next one.
Make motion that ordinance 2022-28 be considered read.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to suspend all rules that prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2022-28.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. And finally,
Make a motion that ordinance number 2022-28 be adopted and approved.
Second.
motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that finishes our agenda. Any comments to the council on non-agenda items? Yes, sir.
Colin Galletly, 3580 Bermuda Drive, City Council, Mayor. I was unable to attend the meeting 2 weeks ago, but I received information about what was discussed, and this is concerning the property on Grants Mill Road. I live just not too far from EWTN, so I am, in the past 16 years, frequently have gone past this property. And I have witnessed, don't hold me to this, roughly 5-6 years ago, whenever it was, that area was being filled in. First, the lake was empty, but what was brought in was, as a civil engineer, practiced over 40 years, recently retired, and what the material I saw that was brought in was large pieces of concrete. It was what we call waste concrete, where it's usually demolition, and there are pieces of concrete 1 foot square, 2 feet, almost 3 feet square, several inches thick, like it might have been a slab, maybe whatever it was. I don't even be guessing. But the problem was, it was brought in and these large trucks just dumped. And then later, when all this was done, some soil was brought in, but it was just mixed in. And then it was topped off with, I don't know if it's a foot or two of soil. Well, it looks fine when you walk around. But when this geotechnical report that y'all will be getting in the next few months, when you get that, don't be surprised, don't be alarmed that they'll say that when they put that drill bit in the ground, they hit a lot of concrete. And it's going to be very, very expensive because you have to haul all of that out of there and replace it. If you've noticed at EWTN, when you're facing EWTN just to the west, that large area they've stripped out, and the mayor reported, I think it's going to be a building going to be built there. If you notice how many feet of soil they ripped out, because it was not good. It was probably clay or something like that. But having said all that, just don't be surprised that this site probably will be very expensive, no doubt, be very expensive to make it usable. That's my comment.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any other comments on non-agenda items? With no other comments on non-agenda items, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Well, before we adjourn, can we set up an ordinance committee meeting to discuss the fireworks survey results as well as the ordinance that we're wanting to discuss on short-term rentals? Can we go ahead and set that up? We're the 18th now. What does, next week we don't have a council meeting. What does next week look like?
I just want to make a comment real quick. I understand we're charged with the duties of the citizen, but we are literally for the past couple of months been having a meeting every single week. So I just want y'all to bear that into consideration.
Okay.
So,
All right. So let's go into November then. We have a council meeting on the 1st. Nothing that I'm aware of on the 2nd or the 3rd.
I will say if we could keep our agendas to a minimal on the 1st, then I wouldn't have a problem having an ordinance committee meeting on the 1st. But if we're going to have another big agenda, trying to get done before the holiday, then we need to revisit a different date.
November 1st is not a good day for Councilman London.
That's out.
All right, we're back to the 2nd and 3rd.
I mean, I can play ball in October. I'm just saying, like, we're getting into this habit of having a meeting and this will be our probably 4th time. And it's important. I'm not trying to say it's not important, but this is going to have to be an actionable item. Won't go to bed. I won't leave the building until we agree that this is done, put to bed, and that we were all in agreements, and we're not going to come back 2 days later and propose changes. This is, if I'm agreeing to a meeting, it's over with, or I'm just going to abstain and let y'all have fun with it.
And that's what we thought, that it
Okay.
was over with, and
Okay.
it got
I
changed
understand.
at the council meeting.
Yep, I understand. So I will play ball with any day y'all want to put on the calendar, but this is it for me.
All right, so we have the,
Good on the second?
I can make the second work.
I will make the second work.
all right, ordinance committee meeting, how about a time?
Councilman London, 5:30.
Councilman Box?
I will make it
Councilman
work.
Sims?
5:30 will work.
Okay.